Let's start with a really unsettling idea. What if I told you that some of your most vivid, most important memories, well, what if they never actually happened? That the very foundation of who you think you are is maybe, just maybe, built on a lie. Let's dig into how that's even possible. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't some plot from a sci-fi movie. Nope, this is a real and, frankly, terrifying quirk of our own psychology. It means that the most unreliable narrator in your entire life story is probably you. So this ghost that kind of haunts our recollections, it actually has a scientific name. It's called the misinformation effect. And believe me, it's the reason why your memory is so much more fragile than you could ever imagine. Okay, that definition sounds super academic, right? But what it really means is huge. It means that something you learn after an event can sneak back in time and literally change your memory of the event itself. This was famously proven in studies where just changing one word, like saying cars smashed instead of hit, made people remember seeing broken glass that wasn't even there. It's that easy to fool us. Probably the best way to think about it is this. We all love to believe our memory works like a video camera, perfectly recording reality. But it doesn't, not even close. It's much more like a Google Doc, a living file that you and other people can open up and edit at any time. And the craziest part? You often don't even realize the changes have been made. And that right there, that's the core misunderstanding. We don't play back memories like we're watching a recording, we reconstruct them. Every single time you remember something, you are actively rebuilding it from the ground up, which leaves it totally vulnerable to change. So, how in the world does this actually happen? How does our own mind become a partner in this deception? Well, the mechanism behind it is both surprisingly simple and honestly pretty profound. Yeah, it all comes back to that one act of rebuilding. Imagine your memory is a jigsaw puzzle. The first time you put it together, you're using the original pieces from the event. But the next time you go to assemble it, someone might have slipped a few new, very similar looking pieces into the box. This whole process, this corruption, it really happens in 4 basic steps. First, obviously, you experience something. Step 2, you encounter new, maybe misleading information about it later on. Then, when you try to remember the original event, your brain starts to reconstruct it. And finally, this is the scary part, that new information just gets woven in, like it was there from the very beginning. So why on earth does our brain do this? Well, because its main job isn't to be a perfect, factual historian. Its job is to be a good storyteller. Your brain will sacrifice factual accuracy for a good, coherent story almost every single time, filling in any gaps to make the narrative make sense. Okay, so this isn't just some neat psychological quirk to talk about at parties. When you start applying this to the real world, the consequences, they get genuinely horrifying. This is where the concept takes a much darker turn. First up, let's talk about eyewitness testimony. It's often treated like the gold standard in a courtroom, right? But the misinformation effect proves that everyone is an unreliable witness. Someone could, with a 100% conviction, swear on a stack of Bibles they saw a blue car speed away. But in reality, that detail was only suggested to them later by a leading question. They're not lying, their memory is. Now, let's scale that up a bit. On a group level, this effect becomes a manipulator's absolute dream tool. By constantly, subtly reframing past events, a cult leader can literally create a fabricated shared history from thin air. An entire community can be convinced they all survived some trauma that never even happened, which binds them together through a powerful, shared lie. But the most terrifying part, the part that should really keep you up at night, is what this means for you, personally. The memories that make you you, your first love, a childhood trauma, that big achievement, they're all just as vulnerable. What if the reason you believe you're a resilient person is based on a memory that's been subtly altered over time to make you seem more heroic than you actually were? It completely shatters the very idea of self-trust. So, where does all of this leave us? If we can't trust our own recollections of our own lives, what in a world can we trust? The final truth is both incredibly simple and deeply unsettling. The ultimate takeaway is this. Your memory is not a vault of objective truth. It's a living story that is constantly being edited. It's the fiction you tell yourself about your own past. Based on some real facts, sure,
but embellished and altered by every single thing you've experienced since.
And that leads us to the final haunting question. If your life is a story that's constantly being rewritten, are you the only one holding the pen? Or are other people, other events, and other narratives constantly changing the words on the pages of your mind? What part of you is actually you?